I'm a conservative in America, and I'm watching CNN just for the straight middle of the road. That's what I hear for 15 minutes. It's great, and then Lonely Scott. It does look, I mean, and when you see the path, it does look like tokenism. It's kind of like the same as The View.
Things just got spicy between Bill Maher and MSNBC's Joe Scarborough. Their late-night exchange turned into a full-on clash, with Scarborough backpedaling so fast he nearly moonwalked off set. Maher, never one to pull punches, tore into Scarborough's wild take on Trump like it was a bad joke at open mic night. By the time Maher was done, Scarborough looked like he had anywhere else to be. So what did Scarborough say that set Maher off? And how did Maher clap back? Stick around. This tea's piping hot and we're pouring every drop.
What is the most pressing question, Kaitlan, you would ask VP Harris if you had the chance? Ooh.
I have a lot of questions for her, but I do think I would ask about, where she stood when she was running as a candidate and for the 2020 Democratic primary and where she stands on a lot of issues now. She's criticized a lot by Republicans for reversing her positions. I think also, Donald Trump has reversed a lot of his positions from covering those. But I think I would be interested in her evolution and where her instincts are and what she learned from governing with a moderate like President Biden.
Just another day and the Trump derangement syndrome is still going strong. Some folks just can't come to terms with the reality of Trump's presidency. They'll bend over backward to twist his words, stir up fear, and sometimes even make things up, all to cast him as the perpetual villain. And of course, Bill Maher responded in typical Maher fashion. But before we get to that, let's rewind to Joe Scarborough's latest hot take on Trump. It's a textbook case of media spin, an opinion laced with bias and conveniently stripped of context. What's really telling is how Scarborough sidesteps the reasons behind Trump's statements, or worse, flat out ignores them. It's not just an oversight, it's a calculated move to present a darker, more one-dimensional image. This kind of selective storytelling doesn't just mislead, it actively reshapes the truth to fit a preset agenda. The goal? Stir outrage. Keep the anti-Trump machine running full throttle, and ensure every conversation about him stays buried under layers of distortion.
Do you guys have that debate?
It's ABC debate.
ABC debate.
If it happens, I still think it's an open question.
Really?
Trump's gonna go. He's got to.
You think Trump is going to pull out?
I think Trump is nervous about it. I think I talked to a lot of sources in his world. I think he has really struggled with it. It's not just a narrative or a talking point from Democrats. He really has struggled with how to combat her. And I think going into that debate, he does not really want to do it. I think it's difficult, if not impossible, for him to pull out because his campaign manager had cards printed that said anywhere, anytime, any place for President Biden, and it would look weak, but I don't think he's looking forward to it at this point.
It's hard to ignore the irony. The left is often guilty of the very things they accuse Trump of doing. As Bill Maher rightly pointed out, it's a textbook case of projection. When it comes to spreading misinformation, outlets like MSNBC aren't just complicit, they've been leading the charge. Need proof? Take your pick. The Russian collusion narrative pushed relentlessly by Rachel Maddow, the dismissal of the Hunter Biden laptop story as disinformation, or the endlessly repeated Find People hoax. Time and again, MSNBC has been caught promoting misleading or outright false narratives. What's even more concerning is how they brush off their own missteps while magnifying Trump's every word into a crisis. When Trump speaks, his comments are dissected, twisted, and weaponized. But when left-wing politicians or media figures spread falsehoods, crickets, or a half-hearted misunderstanding at best, this isn't just hypocrisy, it's strategy. A calculated effort to control the narrative, keep their audience in a perpetual state of fear and outrage, and ensure Trump remains the go-to villain. Because if they ever admitted to their own misinformation, they'd have to face a harsh reality. They're no better than the man they claim to despise, and that's a truth they're desperate to keep hidden.
Political pundit trying to analyze this stuff, but I do know that it's a very easy debate to win. So all you have to say is, look, you had 4 years, I had 4 years. When I was president, and when you were president, here's the difference: is gas prices are up 50% when you're vice president. Electricity prices up 30%. Grocery up 22%. The list keeps going. Taxes were lower under Trump. They raised them under Biden and Harris. Regulations were lower under Trump. They raised them under Biden and Harris. Immigration numbers way down. They actually tried to stop the problem. Record numbers under Biden and Harris. This is a very easy debate to win because on the metrics, it's very easy to show side by side.
Okay,
but that's what his campaign wants him to say. But Donald Trump it's not a campaign where you just give him his talking points and he goes out there and delivers them.
Yeah.
I mean, Donald Trump is his own biggest impediment.
Now, here's where I've got to push back on Maher a bit. He talks like only a small sliver of the left has gone overboard with wokeness. But let's be real, that's just not true. It's no longer some fringe movement, it's the mainstream. In liberal circles, from politicians to media elites to Hollywood, wokeness has become the default setting. This isn't a temporary trend, it's the playbook now. As for Scarborough, he didn't have much to say in response, probably because deep down, he knows Maher isn't wrong. The only real question is, how much longer can he keep pretending otherwise?
You made press because you were on Stephen Colbert's show, and he said something like, you guys at CNN just report the news straight, and the crowd burst into laughter. Look, I'm on CNN now. I guess we're on it right now. I mean, they show this show the next night. I don't know how we get away with it with all the fucks, but they do. And all these dirty jokes. But I'm glad, and I'm a big rooter for CNN. But that tells you a lot, doesn't it? I mean, how do you guys think you are doing in that arena of like, this is a terribly divided country. We're not only politicized, a lot of people just hate the other side. And CNN, in my view, should be the place where both sides can watch. How do you think you're doing with that?
How is CNN is the place where both sides can watch. And I think, my show is evidence of that. We have lawmakers on from both parties. We'll have Elizabeth Warren on one night. We'll have Ted Cruz on.
Exactly. That's the point. Kamala Harris would have a tough time distancing herself from the woke left, assuming she even wanted to. The truth is, she's not just aligned with the movement, she's deeply embedded in it. The woke left isn't some fringe group operating on the margins, whispering radical ideas from the shadows. It is the left now. It's the mainstream, the establishment, and the loudest voice in the room. Just look at the support Harris has received. Her campaign events weren't filled with moderate Democrats challenging wokeness. They were packed with people who fully embraced it. Hollywood's A-listers couldn't stop gushing over her. Journalists pitched her softball questions like they were hosting a kids' game show. And the media? They conveniently buried any story that didn't fit the narrative. That's not the behavior of a small, radical offshoot. That's the Democratic machine at full throttle. So let's stop pretending wokeness is just a fringe ideology. It's not the exception anymore. It's the rule.
On CNN being a place of credibility, I mean, look at what just happened in Chicago. We had 300 people from CNN on the ground covering that convention. There were several reporters from just our team alone on the floor, bringing it in real time to people. And I think CNN puts resources behind things and just brings a level of news that you don't get anywhere else.
On this, I'm with Maher. If there's any real hope of bridging the deep ideological divide, tearing the country apart, it starts with restoring balance. Government needs to focus on solving real problems, not catering to one group while alienating another. That means stepping away from performative politics and getting back to practical, inclusive solutions that serve everyone, not just the loudest voices. Take racism, for example. It's a complex, multi-layered issue that demands thoughtful, strategic responses. It can't be fixed with reactionary, headline-grabbing policies that value optics over outcomes. Real progress requires step-by-step work, addressing systemic issues without creating new ones in the process. But that's not what we're getting. Programs like DEI, while promoted as tools to level the playing field, have brought a wave of unintended consequences, some of which put lives, jobs, and even public safety at risk. When ideology overtakes practicality, everyone pays the price. If we can't find our way back to rational, results-driven governance, this divide isn't just going to linger, it's going to deepen. And the further we drift from common ground, the harder it'll be to pull this country back together.
Conservative in America, and I'm watching CNN. Just for the straight middle of the road. That's what I hear for 15 minutes, it's great, and then Lonely Scott. It does look, I mean, and when you see the path, it does look like tokenism. It's kind of like the same as The View. It's like it's almost better to have nobody there, like MSNBC, than to have just the...
Bill Maher points out a glaring irony. The very people on the left who claim to be the champions of progress often seem unwilling to acknowledge the progress we've actually made. Yes, racism is still a serious issue and there's work to be done, but we're not living in the Jim Crow era anymore. To act as if nothing has changed since the 1960s or 70s is not just inaccurate, it's disingenuous. We have made real strides as a country, and it's okay, even necessary, to recognize that. But here's the problem: many on the left won't. Why? Because for some, clinging to a narrative of constant oppression has become profitable. There's an entire ecosystem built on grievance, where outrage equals influence, and influence equals money. You can look at figures like Whoopi Goldberg, Sonny Hostin, and Don Lemon as examples. They've built careers on fueling racial tension, often ignoring the meaningful progress society has made. Acknowledging real change would undermine the foundation of their platform, and that threatens both their relevance and their revenue. In this cycle, outrage isn't just a response, it's a business model, and until that changes, justice will keep taking a back seat to the profit of perpetual division.